We've been doing missions around the world out of the U.S. for a long time, and most of it has actually been focused on adult ministry. As we know, children are so important to the future, and we've missed out on opportunities by not learning how to incorporate children's ministry into mission around the world. We want to change that.
In past history, kids were often, and still often, looked at as if they have no value. Even churches in America, a lot of times in churches, it's just like the add-on. If we just keep them out of the way of adults because they have the bigger picture and they just push them to the side, you can't push kids to the side because you know what? God has a calling for those kids.
Our relationship with Burkina Faso came through really a network of missionaries that had been set up with our church. We'd been supporting these missionaries for years. And so we've helped them out with children's ministries, we've helped them out in digging wells and planting churches, but we've learned a lot from our sister church in Burkina.
45% of the population in Burkina is 14 and under. It's a nation of children, and we didn't have a way to go after that. I think one of the beauties of our partnership with Awana is as we had spent years there ministering in that country, we had developed relationships, and one of the things that we had seen was a tremendous need for a way to reach children there. Awana didn't have relationships in Burkina, but they had a curriculum that we felt was solid and could be extremely useful in reaching these kids.
Children's ministry is part of our DNA, and as a result, Awana has been able to work with us and help us to take what we've all found to be effective here in our own community and ask the question, how can we be effective in conjunction with those people we partner with overseas in children's ministry?
One of the things I really appreciate about Awana, and I know the rest of our leadership here appreciates about Awana, is they didn't come to Appleton Alliance and make this pitch for come join us in some country that they were hot about. They asked us, where are you guys passionate? Where are you doing ministry overseas? And is there a way that we can partner together?
The heartbeat of Awana is to reach boys and girls with the gospel of Jesus Christ. The way Awana multiplies itself overseas is amazing. It's called a leader-based strategy. After the pastors catch the vision, the pastors then invite 2 other leaders to another training session. And during this training session, they actually teach them how to run a club effectively. And after that, those people go back to their villages or towns and they train their own leaders. And then the kids start pouring in. So Awana, this leader-based strategy, is a brilliant idea on how to most effectively reach kids for Christ around the world at the fastest pace possible.
The 414 window that actually is a statement about demographics, a specific age group of people between the ages of 4 and 14 years old. Back in 2009, they said that 1.2 billion people on the earth were between the ages of 4 and 14 years old. So it's incredibly strategic to reach out to this group. It's the future of the country, it's the future leaders, the future parents, and we want to impact them with hearing about who Jesus is.
So Awana's first step was to translate or get their materials translated into French. By doing that, they can not only reach Burkina, but they can, that's the national language for most of the nations in West Africa. They also saw that to reach, frankly, many more people in Burkina and throughout West Africa, they needed to translate the materials into Jula. Jula is a trade language that's used throughout West Africa. We know that using materials in Jula, we can reach folks in not only in Burkina, but in Mali and in Cote d'Ivoire for sure, and then other West African nations as well.
This has been so successful in West Africa that my mind starts racing with this thing. I'm thinking, why can't Discoveryland of Appleton Alliance Church and Awana partner again in other places? Because we have a vision to have a sister church relationship on every continent in the world.
The kids at Appleton Alliance Church have really taken on the ownership of this partnership that we have with Awana and said, we're going to work together to reach the kids in Burkina Faso. And at that point in that time, our kids started giving pennies, and it was through a simple penny drive in the beginning. And then what we saw was something really incredible. We saw kids actually starting their own businesses in the summertime, and they gave their money to Burkina Faso. It's just not out of obligation, but it's because our kids can see that God is working in an amazing way.
I'm just amazed by the enthusiasm that I see among our children, and it's contagious. That's a challenge right there to all of us as parents, to listen to the young heart that's open to saying, how can we pray? How can we support? How can we back up what God's doing around the world?
Awana is already a tremendous bang for the buck, right, in terms of reaching kids. $10 a child is what they quote in their materials. In our first year, what we've experienced is something more like $4 a child in terms of reaching. And as we look out to the end of 2017, we think that's going to come down to $2 a child. And as we look even further out, as we hope to reach 1 million kids, we're looking at like $1 per child.
Our kids are going to lead us again in this vision. Reaching 1 million kids, that's not a big deal for them. They believe that God is a big God. They have childlike faith, and our kids are excited about reaching that goal. We're going to watch them, the way they approach this thing, and it's going to impact our vision to reach people for Christ.
We are so impressed with the power of the partnership between Appleton Alliance Church and Awana that I can't help but want to encourage you to contact Awana and see if they can't do the same thing with you that they're doing for us. Maybe it's not in Burkina. If you want to come to Burkina, we'd love to have you. But they're having these kind of results in countries around the world, and I'm confident that there's a place that you're passionate about where Awana is either at or willing to go with you to reach.